This is Super Saturday, powered by Hollywood Bets.
Super Saturday with me, Jeremy Harris, in studio with, a regular. I mean, he could do the show if I'm not here. DHL Stormers winger Ben Loader. Ben, always good to chat to you, but I mean, I say welcome back as opposed to just welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's this is very familiar surroundings for me, so I'm always happy to be in here, so thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Listen, let's talk about the worst kept secret in the world. Let's get the veg out the way before we get to the potatoes. And the veg is that you will be leaving the Stormers at the end of this season. I mean, I've got that right.
Yes, yeah. It is. It feels like it has been the worst kept secret. Not that it was ever like a real secret, but yeah, I think it's with a heavy heart that I say that I'm having to leave at the end of the season, and it's not anything but like a career choice and different circumstances. But as I always say to everyone who asks, I would love to stay. I'd love to stay. So it's not something that's been easy or an easy decision, but I think it makes sense, and home is where the heart is, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a tough time, but I think there's still plenty of rugby to be played.
Oh yeah,
for the rest of the season. Still plenty of time to enjoy Cape Town and be with my friends and family here. So it's not like I'm leaving tomorrow.
No, thank goodness for that. But I mean, let's talk about that, because it feels like you've been with the Stormers for like 15 seasons, because you have come on board and instantly were accepted by the team and by the fans, which is tricky to do. The fans, I'm not saying that they're fickle, but they take a while to warm up to players who maybe are not from Cape Town or not from South Africa. But gosh, you have fitted in, but it hasn't been 15 seasons. It's been a little bit less.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, because to me it does also, part of the time it feels like it has been 15 seasons, and the way in which I was accepted and welcomed by the team, the union, the people, the city. Like when I came over, I didn't know what to expect, and so justifiably, like, it's exceeded all expectations, and I really feel at home here, and I felt at home so quickly. But the other part of me feels like it's not been long at all, which is where the sadness comes in. That I still feel like I have a lot to give. I still feel like I have a lot to do here, and Cape Town feels like home for me. So to be leaving so soon is tough.
So I mean, we're going to talk about the fact that you're leaving, but I dare say that when you do leave, it won't be on a permanent basis. I fancy that you'll be back on for regular visits.
I definitely think so. I think whether it's I don't know when it will be, but I will definitely be back here. And like I said, I'll always have a part of myself here, and I'll always see this as my second home. So whether that's holiday, whether that's back playing, whether that's coming to live here, whatever, Cape Town will always have a piece of my heart.
Wow, that's a really good one. I like that a lot. Let's talk just for the games that remain in the season. Let's focus on that, the here and now in Cape Town, or for the Stormers. The Stormers have had just, I'm going to call it the worst luck in terms of injuries. We've narrowly lost some games, maybe games that, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we probably go, maybe we should have won that one. So we've had a run of that, and yet we are still knocking on the door of a playoff spot. Yeah,
it's the season has been what it's been, and that's rugby. Sometimes you get the bounce of the ball, and sometimes you don't. And I think this season we haven't, in terms of, like you say, injuries, maybe decisions, maybe just scorelines not going our way, and the bounce of the ball. Certain things that would have come off for us last year or the year before, just maybe aren't sticking. And so it's been tough, but it hasn't been like we've been playing terribly. and especially the last few games, we feel like we're building and getting closer to that performance where things just click. So it's been tough, but despite all of that, we're still there or thereabouts for the playoffs, and hopefully a good run of games towards the end of the season gives us some momentum into those final top 8 spots.
Let's talk a little bit about the DHL Stormers team, and I mean maybe let's start with Dobbo himself, because I want to just get your perspective, your experience of the some of the characters in that squad. I'm not going to run through the whole squad, but I mean just you're a rugby man and you've worked with various coaches and coaching staff through your career up to now, and so just your experience of John Dobson.
Yeah, I mean, Dobbo was the guy that got me over here, and explaining. I remember the phone call of him explaining, the vision he has for the team and for the union, and the mission of making Cape Town smile is something that that I hadn't thought about. I hadn't experienced that before, and I think throughout my time here and throughout obviously his time here, that's been the focus, and that's been the underlying goal. And I think that that speaks volumes about what he's been trying to create here, and what we as a playing group are also trying to create through the way we play, the way we interact, and all of that kind of stuff. So I have the utmost respect for him. I think he's a great man, and he's been so helpful and influential in making me feel welcome here, and making not only myself but other players within the team feel really part of the Stormers and Western Province and Cape Town.
Did he have anything to say to you? I mean, it's the first time I'm asking you this. I'm just thinking about it. That one try you scored when you went over in the corner, the right-hand corner touchline, and I think you broke or you dislocated your shoulder, or you broke your arm.
Yeah, I hurt my shoulder during that try. Yeah.
But you were going. Was it in the celebration moment, or?
Everyone says it was during the celebration, but it was just before. I think the celebration was I knew the shoulder was gone, but I thought, let me just celebrate anyway.
And did he have anything to say to you as a result of that? Because that's something he would do.
Yeah, no, it was. I think he also hopped on the fact that I shouldn't celebrate too hard.
Let's talk about some of the players, and I particularly want to focus on the leaders in the team, and so in no particular order of importance, because I mean, you look at that Stormers team and there's no shortage of players who have represented and continue to represent the Springboks. Some of them are World Cup winners, some of them are Rugby Championship winners, and so you would be playing with players who have got a particular different way that they're also sort of playing their game. They've also had, different experiences as well. And again, just, to get your thoughts about having played with them, maybe not necessarily physically alongside them, but played with them in the team. And so I think of somebody like Salman Murat, who became Springbok captain number 66. For him, a massive honor for him and his family. It was, he's one of the quieter men in rugby, but he leads by example, and so maybe just your thoughts in terms of having played with him, under him, and sort of sat there and listened to him during team talks at halftime, whenever it is.
Yeah, I mean, you said it well. He's a guy who is a man of not as many words as some other guys, but the way he leads is through his action, and when he speaks, you listen, but also that comes with being just a great guy and a great team man, and always putting the team first underneath all of that. And so I love Salman, like, as a friend, as a brother, but also as a leader. He's a guy who you're ready to follow into battle, and there's a few guys in that team who perhaps don't have the same voice that other leaders have, but that when you're running out there at the DHL stadium and you've got them beside you, that you're ready to go to battle.
Absolutely. I want to go to the back line because, I mean, Dan du Plessis is another leader. He's also had his fair share of injury issues, but I mean, he's another leader also, very involved, and would have played a whole lot closer with you in terms of, physical position on the field. But I'm just keen to get your thoughts in terms of the kind of conversations that you guys would have sort of mid-game, and the kind of way that his leadership style, came to bear.
Yeah, Dan again is another guy who really just throws himself at everything, and being close to him on the pitch there is interesting because he's a kind of guy who, when things aren't maybe going right or something's gone wrong, he's the guy that you give the ball to maybe run into that brick wall, and he'll do it and over and over and over again, and so again, like a guy who you'd follow anywhere. But the conversations that we have on the pitch, it's guys like Dan, guys like Warwick, Damien, Marnie. Like, as a backline, I think we communicate well, and we have the guys who put us in the right positions and who drive the game plan, and then also the guys who are there to motivate, the guys who give us energy. Communication from the outside's a big thing. So myself, Zas, Suleiman, like communicating from the outside in is a huge thing, but also listening and getting the comms from the inside as well. So it's, for us as a backline, I don't know what goes on in the forwards, but for us as a backline,
they're just grunting amongst themselves.
Exactly. It's sort of one syllable at a time. But for us as a backline, I think our communication is something that we try and pride ourselves on, and being connected and being on the same page. I think when we have that, I think it's clear to see, because the ball flows, the moves flow, you just kind of understand each other better.
Absolutely. And then the other sort of group of people that I want to talk about are the fans. And it's not a cliche, because, I mean, I've been a Stormers fan, if you don't mind me saying, longer than you have. The one thing is, I'm struck by how they have absolutely taken to you. And I mean, I know that it's my observational, anecdotal sort of input. I mean, I've got no research to base it on, but I just see and I hear. And so maybe, just your thoughts on that very first Stormers game, when you came on, the kind of noise and experience that you would have, experienced, the kind of interaction with the fans, because I mean, as you know, the Stormers fans love to talk to the players. They love to talk to anybody who'll listen. But I mean, maybe just your experience of the Stormers fans, what they call the Stormers faithful, during games, after games, you bump into them in the shopping centre or at other appearances. I mean, what's that been like?
Yeah, it's been incredible. I think it's a very different experience to playing rugby in the UK. I think with football or soccer being so big back home, but here I've just been blown away by how welcoming the fans have been, how they've accepted me as part of their team, and it makes it's humbling to see how much it means to people here, and it really, like, again, to use another cliche, like, it's a privilege to wear the jersey, because it's, when I get put in the number 14 jersey, it's not mine. It's just I get the privilege of wearing that for that weekend, and then to see and hear about how much the game and how we play and winning obviously means to the fans. It's you have no choice but to give you everything at the weekend. But interacting with fans after the game, and like you say, bumping into people at the shopping centre, or just talking to people, getting messages from fans. I think it's just blown me away, and I think this fan base is got to be up there with the best in the world. And running out for my first game at the DHL Stadium, which I think was that La Rochelle game in December.
I think it was, yes.
And just scoring that try in front of the faithful and feeling the energy and seeing the looks on their faces, and it was just incredible. Because I mean, the last game I played at the DHL Stadium before that was against the Stormers. So,
Yes.
I was on the receiving end of the support there, really. But yeah, I think it's just been incredible, and I think that's gone a long way to making me feel like part of this team and part of this province.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been what, 2 years, 3 years? How long has it been now?
2 years.
2 years, gosh. And you are comfortable in the city. You know your way around. You're driving.
Yeah. I'm fully comfortable. I think this is, like I said, I didn't expect it to feel like home so quickly. But it wasn't long before. I had my little local coffee spots, certain places. Everything like that. It's I really feel as much as a foreigner can feel like a local. And I think that's gone a long way into how much I love this place and I love my time here.
Let's talk about another really badly kept secret. I mean, I don't know if we can mention them, but I mean, I'm going to, because I'm not going to be playing for them. But I mean, the press, the media suggesting that you will be going to Gloucester. I mean, I know that Gloucester, for their part, are waiting for the right moment to make that announcement. But I mean, that does look like the franchise you're headed to.
Yeah, that's what's definitely been reported, and I've got a lot of friends there. The coaches there some of them are my old coaches from London Irish, and so to reconnect with them, to reconnect with some of my old friends and guys who I've played with, would be exciting. And talking about fans, they also have very passionate fan base. I think I've played there at Kingsholm on the opposite side for many years, and always the Shed is notorious for the passionate fans. So I think there are some similarities in that sense. I mean,
you mentioned London Irish, and I was deliberately flagging the move to Gloucester because of the if you like, crossover from London Irish into Gloucester for some of the personnel there. I mean, that would have been a hard few months in terms of the fact that London Irish was closing up. It would have been painful, emotional. I mean, maybe can you recall some of how you felt and what you saw, happening to the club, to the players, to people who were your friends?
Yeah, no, it was a really tough time, and almost the worst thing is that a lot of us had hope up until the very last
Sure.
point. I mean, I look back now and I think this takeover deal was never going to happen. But I remember at the time, a lot of us thinking, okay, they've missed this deadline, but no, they'll get it in by next week. Something will happen. Like, I think it was more a state of disbelief that all of a sudden, overnight, our club, this club of 125 years, was just no more as a professional entity. So that was super tough, and then the weeks after, you feel in this kind of limbo of some players already having signed up for new clubs and gone to pre-season because it happened so late in the summer there. Some players trying to figure out what to do, some players quitting. So some of my friends just decided that was going to be it for rugby, which was super sad, because I think we had quite a tight-knit group of players and friends and coaches and fans there as well. So it was a tough time. But for me personally, that time in the weeks afterwards, and then deliberating about where I'm going to go, and getting the call from Dobbo, and thinking about the prospect of coming to Cape Town, I think that was something that kept me going, and something that out of something so bad came something incredible. And so talk about making the best of a bad situation. I think, like, I'm so grateful that this opportunity came up, and for all the heartbreak of that time, like, I would have had this experience. So I think it's been incredible to sort of land on my feet here, and also have such an amazing time here as well.
I was talking to Dobbo more or less the time that you came across, and he was saying, because I know that you won't, because you are a humble gentleman, that you were your first priority was your teammates at London Irish before you accepted the deal at the Stormers. Your priority was to make sure that they were as sorted as they could be. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things that I didn't want to be the first guy to just go and leave the country and come to Cape Town and wash my hands completely of London Irish without, it still felt very fresh. So even when I was talking to Dobbo and weighing up my options and all of that kind of stuff, I think it still felt so fresh. It almost felt wrong to sort of run away from the carnage, if you like.
Yeah.
In terms of some friends looking for jobs, some friends quitting rugby, and also us kind of as a team having a bit of closure. We had this final sort of meet-up barbecue, if you like, at the training ground to just say goodbye to everyone, because we were a team that had players from all corners of the world, and so some people were getting their visas revoked. Some people, it was terrible, but it was nice to have that closure and be able to say goodbye. And I just didn't want to feel like I was jumping straight into the next thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was, I'm glad it worked out well in the end, and that the offer to come here was still there, because I'm also very, I don't regret taking my time there and just making sure that things were, I don't want to say good, because things were bad in that time, but things were okay for a lot of my friends.
As sorted as they could be.
Exactly, yeah.
So Ben, now the move back to the UK is opening a door for potential England selection. Something certainly that you would definitely have earmarked as something you want to do in your career.
Yeah. I think it's a difficult one, because there are no guarantees, and I think lots of people have told me, oh well, you're going back, so you must. But there are a great set of players there at the moment. But of course, I think that's the goal. Like for young South African kids, they want to become Springboks, and I think for young English rugby players, the goal is to represent your country. And after my time here, I feel like when I came over, I said that this is not me closing the door. It's me becoming a better player, having this experience, and this experience has been unbelievable, and I feel like I have got better as well. But I think if I ended my career and I looked back on this time of me sort of in, I don't want to call it the prime, because hopefully it can still get better, but I'm 26 now, and if I look back and hadn't taken the opportunity, hadn't given it a go, then I might regret it. Yeah. So just to see, give it everything and see where things land. And if that does end up in international honours, then that's the ultimate goal.
I mean, I think that there's, as you say, I mean, your words was, I want to become a better player, and go home as a better player. And do you think that having spent time in a strong rugby playing country like South Africa, I mean, you could have gone New Zealand maybe as well, even Argentina. I mean, you could have picked many different countries where it's a bit of a religion, the sport of rugby. So I mean, do you think that you have now seen differently how the sport can be played, should be played, must be played, and you feel like, I've grown as a person, I've grown as a rugby player, I'm coming back 26, which is sprightly, but I'm going back, with a 35-year-old head on my shoulders, because now I've seen a few different things that maybe I wouldn't have seen when I was, playing in the UK.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like, I remember saying this to someone, I don't think there has been, like, a better time to be playing rugby in South Africa, because the international game is in such good shape, and the domestic game, I think, the URC is one of the most competitive competitions, in the world, and being able to, like, for me as a winger to compete 1 week against Kane Moody or Kirtley, and the next week against Louis Liner, like Italian winger, or Kyle Stain, or every week you're facing different internationals, playing different brands of rugby, and you face new challenges like the travel and all of that kind of stuff. So I think, like, it's been so valuable in terms of experiencing different rugby environments, different opposition, life experience, of course, which we talked about. But I think, going back home with all of this experience and this knowledge, I think can only be a good thing, for sure.
Talking to Ben Loader, DHL Stormers winger. Before we let you go, Ben, maybe just you can write your own sort of eulogy, as it were. I mean, maybe you can say goodbye better than I can send you on your way. And so, we've got the various role players that sit around you as an ecosystem. You've got the team, the squad. You've got the coaching staff. You've got the fans. You've got family and friends. I mean, there's a whole host of people that have supported you coming here, being here, and obviously, as sad as we are to see you go, we understand that that's the next step. How do you say to them, cheers, goodbye? This is not goodbye. This is just see you later.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how I'd say it. I think it is see you later, and there are far too many people to thank, because I think every interaction I've had, every no matter how small it might seem to some people, has gone towards making this feel like my home. And it's, no matter how long you stay in a place, you want to leave some kind of legacy. And I want to thank everyone who helped me, write this story. And my hope is that the legacy of me being here was someone who really bought in, who gave their all for the team, and who bought into everything that this whole experience, the city, the people, the fans, my friends, everything that this place has to offer. And it was never a set plan to come for a year and leave, come for 2 years and leave. Like it was never set in stone. And if I could stay, then I would love to. So, I think that I want to, thank everyone who's put into me, and also, enabled me to give back to the team and the city. And it definitely is see you later rather than goodbye. There
we go. Exclusive chat with Ben Loader, DHL Stormers winger for the time being. He's going to be here for the whole season, not in studio, but with the team. But I wanted to get this chat in, and Ben, to say to you that you're an absolute professional. When you spend time with us, we know that we get really good value out of you. We see that you consider everything that you talk to us about. But I mean, obviously also on the pitch as well. You make our city and our province and our franchise proud, and so we are grateful to you, and it will be a really bitter loss, but we will watch your progress with interest, and I hope that you do pull on that white jersey, and I hope that you do play for one of the other teams in World Rugby.
Thank you so much. It's I love coming in here. I do. So it's always a pleasure chatting with you, and I'll forever be you know, like I said, I'll forever be part of Cape Town. I'll forever be a Stormer and a Stormers fan. So like that is truly in my heart forever now.
Ben, as we like to say on the show, and you know this, I'd like to wish you a Super Saturday.
This is Super Saturday, powered by Hollywood Bets.